What is up YouTube? It is Matty and welcome to this Playin Wit COC war recap where we take a look at the Town Hall 10 and Town Hall 11 action. The one we're going to show is versus Auburn. It's a farm war, what we consider a farm war, where the enemy can't really 3-star, and if you in fact look at the 3 stars, 34 versus 2, so these sort of wars are, some people take them as practice, some people, test out certain strategies, some people just try and absolutely hammer bases, there's you get a nice variation. But to be honest, if I hit scout, most of the bases here are anti 2-star layouts, which means, and the thing with anti 2-star layouts is they are easier to 3-star typically. So you find that it's a lot more consistency in the 3-star hits. Obviously there were some fails there. That base I absolutely demolished. My other hit was a 99%, which is absolutely gut wrenching. But you can, these sorts of bases you should be able to 3-star them without much problem, because you've got max Valkyries these days. It makes life so much easier. All you need to do is find a way to guide them into the core, and you're pretty much set. I'm not gonna lie, the game has really opened up. So there were some Town Hall 9 on Town Hall 10 hits, but I'm going to do a special feature video on that. So we're going to pick up this war from number 14, which was the bottom Town Hall 10. In fact, what I will show you, because a few were fresh hits, just to give you an idea of how many attacks it took to take some of the bases down. Starting with defense, if we go on defenses, starting with number 14, 2 hits, 13 2, 12 took 3. 2 hits on 11, 1 hit on 10, and I assume that was a 3-star. No, sorry, it wasn't a 3-star. I'm struggling here. I did a fresh hit on number 7. So there's a variation of some fresh hits and some and multiple hits on whether we got the 3-star or not. So anyway, moving up to number 14, and let's have a look at the attack by Yaboy. You're going to see a lot of Valk variants. I quite like using these days. I mean, I've done a lot of practice in matchmaking, and I'm starting to like the back-end loons over the back-end hogs, just because giant bombs can absolutely wreck you. What you need to do the majority of Town Hall 10 3-stars, I see a lot of people seem to like the idea that the Queen Walk in Town Hall 10, because you can get such a good opener to a raid. You can deal with the clan castle with her. You can create a nice funnel of a couple of layers deep, which massively does help out. And you can see here, using a couple of hog riders to get the CC pull. Queen's going to be hitting the king. She needs to kill him, and then you've got the CC coming. So the ability will be needed to hit at this point, which he's just dropped now. And he'll be getting the dragon down soon, and then the loon after. So the queen is looking pretty good, but the CC has already been dealt with, and she's already sort of started creating that funnel in now. Sometimes people use a golem and some wizards to then create a secondary funnel, or what a few people are doing is doing one huge queen walk and then hitting straight into the core. But let's have a look at this here. By dropping the Valks on the one side of the defense of the outside buildings, it's pulled them over to the other side, and then eventually they're just going to be pulled straight into the core. So again, as long as you can find a direct route for the Valkyries to go in, it doesn't matter so much. Good use of loons here to take down some exposed defences. Queen's going off and just taking more defences down, and before we know it, this base is almost crippled, and there are a lot of troops left. So yeah, if it's a big wide open base, but then you have to be more careful with either do a longer walk to create a direct route in for the Valkyries, or do a secondary sort of funnel with either Valkyries or what else could you use? Bowlers, even Golem wizards, giant wizards, that sort of thing. But on this base you didn't really need to, because it had walls, and the walls meant that the Valks had to go a certain route, shall we say, and that route guided them directly into the core, and that's how come it was a little bit easier on this one. If you can control the clan castle, and you can use an earthquake, you can always add a bit of value with an earthquake spell. So looking back at this one, being able to break in those double layers and not need to worry about the jumps, because he could control the CC with his queen, it meant he was opened up on the Valks and just guided them straight into that town hall, as you can see, or into the Inferno Towers. So yeah, it's all about sort of a bit of clever use of funneling. Moving up to number 13 now, we've got an attack by Nick. Typical anti-2-star base, you're going to have Teslas either side of the town hall there. This one wasn't actually a queen walk. Earthquake to start. Now typically if it's not a queen walk and you're earthquaking, you need to be careful about the clan castle troops, because they can quickly finish off Valkyries and just basically put a stop to the raid. What he's doing here is a bit of basic funneling though. The Golem tanking for his queen. Wall breakers in, that will walk the Golem in, so we're doing a little bit of a Golem walk and then just a big bunch of Valks straight in. They should naturally sort of funnel towards both of those Inferno Towers, and the Queen should pull them up to the next Inferno Tower. He's got to use good use of poisons here. You can see the Valks already on the second Inferno. Because the Queen was there, they were naturally pulled up, which was great. And then just a huge amount of hogs, so I don't know if you can see them. He surgically dropped them pretty much around the entire base on all of those point defences, and just the base is torn apart. I mean, it's not... I mean, it was over so fast once it started. The dragon is there killing the king, and you can see there is that added risk of when you don't control the clan castle that you can it can end up well, that dragon staying alive, but it's just not doing that much damage, to be honest. It's not even being that much of a hindrance. The rest of the troops are just clearing out the base. So if you can find a way to do some basic funneling, get a big group of Valkyries to go in and straight to the first Inferno. And I love the fact he used the Queen as the sort of the anchor to pull them into that second Inferno there. Very smart entry choice. And you got to remember, because all at Town Hall 9, you're thinking, if you're doing like a GoVaHo attack or a GoVaHo, the hogs are the main sort of players in the attack. So you've got to kill the Queen. That's imperative. But when at Town Hall 10, the Queen's going to die pretty much wherever she is on the battlefield, because Valks are just so fast and fierce. They're just going to just obliterate her, so it's much less of a concern. Anyway, moving up to number 12, we've got a hit by Fam. Let's see what he's doing. It's a Varloon sort of raid with a Queen Walk, Valks and Loons. I think this is the attack that I failed on? I think this is the attack that I failed on. So if you've seen the 99% hit that I did, this is the cleanup attack to it. And in fact, I should put a link to the description in this video, because it will show you how subtle the changes really were in the deployment method. And it came down to a few more Loons, I think a few less Valkyries, just to make sure the defences went down quicker and the cleanup could start sooner, because the rest of the raid almost went sort of pitch perfect on how it was delivered. Queen Walk went exactly the same, and you can see. So if this does, I hope I uploaded it in the right order and you've seen this raid before on my attack, because it just goes to show, you know, if someone's got a good plan, and mine was a good plan that I picked up from someone else, you know, and he didn't need the jump, he just used a rage there, which is pretty cool. You know, you can always make use of good and tune a plan, and this is how he did it. Just some extra heavier Loons on the sort of towards 4 or 5 o'clock, and that was the difference in getting the triple. It was awesome. Anyway, moving on to the next hit on number 11 by Omar. Let's have a look at what he's doing. Again, another similar base design. This, you might have remembered on the last attack on the base you saw. On this one was the way he did just a straight up GoVaHo. On this one it's a Queen Walk. So starting with a Giant Walk actually, which is quite clever. That Giant's going to stay being hit for a little while. The Queen's just there taking down the buildings. Wizards good use so far. The Queen will naturally the healers will naturally switch target at some point. Hopefully the Queen's going to take down this CC nice and smoothly. Probably going to need to pop the ability. Yep, look like it. There goes Loon 1, Loon 2 and Loon 3, and he's going to Earthquake in to get to the Town Hall. Again, if you can control the clan castle, or if you know there's like a hound and some archers or something in the clan castle, again, it's the same concept. You just don't need to worry about bringing poisons. You can just get away with Earthquake, and earthquaking a base and creating that opener on a Town Hall 10 can lead to devastation, especially when you're using the Valkyries with it. Big push with Valks in now. The Infernos are on them a long time, but you'll notice even though it was sort of a longer run to that Inferno tower, freeze hasn't been used, and in fact you won't see freeze used in pretty much any raid. When I started my Town 10 3-star journey and started learning how to get good use out of Valkyries, I was using freeze all the time, but experience and seeing these guys raid has shown me that actually freeze isn't that useful. You can get much better use out of a good raid spell because Valks are so quick and powerful, and defenses die so quickly. I can't believe the Queen survived here, by the way. That is legit sick. Oh, did she die? Did she? Oh, she died. I thought she was about to survive then, because that raid, it'd have been cleaned up a little bit quicker if she did. Doesn't matter. But yeah, you can typically find better use for spells without needing a free spell. And if the Inferno towers are very far apart from each other, you can use a heal spell in between the Inferno towers. If they are very close to each other, then they're going to go down quick with a rage anyway. So there's rarely a scenario where freeze is going to come in handy on Town Hall 10 versus Town Hall 10 when you're using Valkyries. Obviously, Larloon would be something completely different. But what's the point in Larlooning when Valkyries are just so stupidly powerful? And yeah, great hit there. Next one we're going to show, 10 and 9 were misses, as you can see. And the next one is by Coin. So unfortunately Coin got a 1 star and he's come back with a vengeance and got the triple. So let's have a look. Similar base time design to what we've seen. So unfortunately there are a lot of anti-2-star bases in this video. But guess what? I am in 2 arranged wars. I mean, today is Friday. Saturday the 30th of April, so you'll see how far my backlog is once you know that fact and what date it is that I actually upload this video. But I'm in 2 arranged wars on my mini, one on my mini, one on my main, and it is DWA. Oh, I can't even remember what the clans are called that they're in, but 2 big mixed scrims basically. So I'm gonna have some arranged war anti-3-star based content coming out my ears and coming onto this all over this channel very soon. So yes, but don't get me wrong, this sort of content I don't think is bad. I think this actually, because the majority of wars that you are going to face in Clash of Clans are going to be farm wars, that this is the sort of more realistic content, more realistic Town Hall 10 bases that you are likely to find. Now here, perfect example of the second tier funneling. I've said the Queen's walking the one way, she's actually going to die, but he's using a Golem and Wizards to create the second tier of the funnel, which means the Valks are not going to go to the sides, they're going to go straight into the core. And watch the use of the heal spell, rage spells here. I would have dropped that rage spell a bit deeper in to get to that Inferno tower because it's just going to slow them up, but now they're in heal, they're going to be making use of that, getting that health back. And the beautiful thing is, even if your Queen dies when you've got healers, on your walk, the healers can come back and end up helping you out. So here they've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 shots maybe off to give those Valkyries a blast of heal. So multi-purpose on the heal spells, and even if the Queen did survive, sometimes the healers pull off of her and onto Valkyries and or King anyway. So you often get multi-purpose from healers, which is why I like them so much. I love it when, you know, I've done a Queen walk and then the healers switch off and go and start chasing my Valkyries around the base, and I end up getting a 3-star from it. It's just awesome. But there we go, another good triple from Coin here, using the 2 methods of funnel, Queen walk with 1, Golem Wiz for the second. Nice and clean, nice and easy. I did get a fresh hit triple. It was a pretty... I did a swag back Barb King. I've already shown the live attack on it. I mean, it was such an easy base. I guess I'll show again here. The concept is, because I'm using my Queen to funnel that entire north side of the base, and there's a wall running down sort of alongside by the King there, my Valks have no choice once the funnel's created but to go to both Inferno Towers. So easy funneling meant I could just use a hell of a lot of Valkyries, rage heal them through the core, and no matter what happens, I don't care where my healers split. I mean, I actually swagged out a king, 2 loons, 2 wizards, and a minion just because I just didn't need them in the end for the raid. So yeah, you can see when you've got bad base designs, 3-starring is a doddle. Moving up into the Town Hall 11s now, and again anti-2-star bases, meaning that the 3-star is hella easier. So let's have a little look. Earthquake in the start is not queen walking, hoping that there's going to be a hound in this. Well, let's see what's in that clan castle, because I'm genuinely curious. Using 2 golems here. I rarely use 2 golems. Now he's using wizards to create the funnel on the sort of towards 9 o'clock, and in the middle he's using the golem to actually pull. It's pulled out the hound. In there, I would have been worried about funneling that top 12 o'clock archer tower. I'd have probably sent probably 2 loons on it. To be fair, that would have been my choice. But look at this with the warden and down, all those Valkyries down now. He just needs a big group of them to go into the core. Actually ended up using a freeze spell here. I mean, I suspect almost he was thinking that quite a few Valkyries might dodge the core on this one, which is why he ended up using the freeze spell there. What's happened is the sort of warden and archqueen have paired up. The golem and wizards and Valkyries have paired up down the other side, and there's been another bunch of Valkyries that are doing some pretty decent damage as well, using a couple of loons on each of those sort of edge defenses to try and help clear those down, which is working okay. But it's just the fact that because everything went down so quickly at the start, he's still got lots of sort of HP left on the battlefield from Valks, from Queen, from golems and all sorts. It's getting a little bit close now, but he hasn't had to use the ability up to this point. So the Queen ability there just helped him take down 4 defences quite quickly. And now all that's left is that cannon. What's going to happen now? This is where it's getting a little bit close. He needs that cannon to go down quickly. Unfortunately, the giant bomb killed the Queen, so the warden had to be the guy that finished up the rest of the raid. So just about scraped it through there, but got the triple, so that's all that counts. And so well done to Nico. Moving through. See, what I like here is you've got a couple of Town Hall 10s hitting up on the Town Hall 11s, which I'm happy to show as well. Because unfortunately this was a failed queen walk, as in she died in the end, but I think she'd achieved what she'd needed to at that point. He'd pulled the CC, got rid of that, so that wasn't going to be a hindrance. And with the smooth kill on the clan castle and a funnel being created by the Queen, when it comes, and the fact that there's not that many outside defense buildings, it means the funnel is even easier. So here Queen is losing health and she does end up dying, but watch this, golem down, bit of basic funneling, guiding in surplus of 20 Valks there, and it just obliterates that so quickly. And then you got a nice high percentage 2-star. So even on the Town Hall 10s, it is quite easy to, particularly on easy bases, to hit up. And you can see Optimus Crime here dropping a nice 2-star on a Town Hall 10 again. On a Town Hall 11, which helps the Town Hall 11s when they need to dip. We are doing, so I guess we're doing an even amount really at the moment of dips and not, but it depends on what sort of war it is. So on a war like this, you want some Town Hall 10 on Town Hall 10 practice more than Town Hall 10 on Town Hall 11 practice, I would have thought. This is more or less the same attack. It's quite funny that the same strategy, I've guessed, since the bases were so similar. But yeah, nicely able to get the 2-star there, and didn't need to worry about it. The final 2 bases we're going to show in this war were 3 stars by Psycho and Jake on some pretty bad base designs, but a 3-star to 3, and I like to show it for the channel, for you guys, to give you that wealth of experience that I'm sort of gaining by being in this clan, and because I'm here and because I'm YouTubing for you guys, for you know it. I'm just sharing the knowledge, hoping that it can give you some ideas, inspiration when you see similar base layouts, because there's lots of ways to hit the same base, lots of ways. You don't need to do it the exact way, you just need to understand the concepts of what you need to do. So here, it's simple as Golem and Wizards to create the one side of the funnel, Queen to create the other side of the funnel, and that's it. Then all you need to do is guide your Valkyries into the base, into that sort of Eagle artillery, which has now just been activated. It is going to go after that Golem, which is fine, and you can see because he's funneled both the corners, the Valks are almost certainly going to come in from right down here, and we're going to watch a big drop. There you are, look. So big funnel created, jump straight in. He's going to use a second jump over that town hall, I would imagine. I mean, that's the exact spot I would be dropping it. Some Valks did run off to the side. It's not the end of the world. The CC are coming out to play. The Valks are quite quick movers. Can that loon get a drop off? He has got poison there to slow it down, so unlikely. But you can see 2 Inferno's Eagle artillery and pretty much all those experts have gone down quickly. The fact those Valkyries have ran around the side here is actually going to work to his favour. But so many Valkyries in the core about to join up with that squad that's just fizzled out. And it may, with healers, with Queen, with King, you know, it's just going to melt the base, to be fair. So you can never, I find it so difficult to predict where the Valks are going to go. I mean, as long as you get them where you need them to at the start, which is into that core, after that I have no idea what's going to happen. So you just almost have to try and adjust on the fly. And if you've got back end troops, just place them as you see fit. And let's have a look at this hit by Jake. So on this one, because there's such big compartments, what he does is he queen walks almost this entire compartment between, what's that, 9 and 12-ish. And because he queen walks that entire compartment, he's then got a direct route into the Inferno Tower if he sends his Valks in. So he's actually clearing his own Valk running space here, which is a different way of doing it. So you can either almost funnel 2 edges and then send the Valks in the middle, or funnel an entire side and then send the Valks in the middle. So 2 different ways to achieve the same thing, and that's guiding the Valkyries in. Nice little hog there to get the CC pull. I'm probably going to end up needing a rage. No, actually, should be okay there. I wouldn't bother with a rage. The only thing you'd want the rage for is just to speed up the process. Because I don't. In fact, if the Queen was hitting the Golem, that loon could cause a problem. So probably a good choice for rage. Actually, I think I'm chatting a bit of rubbish there in my initial ponderings. But Queen now almost completely taken out that compartment. Couple more buildings to go. And then you're going to see the main part of the attack. So he's got Earthquake, and that's it, just an Earthquake. So because he's wall broken before that last defense went down, he's got that direct route in, Earthquaking over the Town Hall. Now watch this. He's just going to guide those Giants, King and Valkyries straight in. They're going to smash through the first layer of wall, so you didn't even need to worry about that. There's no way they're going to not go to that wall, you see, because that funnel was so nicely created. And because of that, you can safely just drop those Valks straight into the core with the Eternal Tomb ability of the Warden with rages and heals. He's just going to smash it. What's going to happen next? Well, as we know, you don't really know, do you? It's just going to be a bit of chaos. The troop seems to have pulled to the south side. A couple of loons there to help them out, which took down that cannon, which was a nice little addition, actually. And now they're all sort of... if you can get those healers now back onto the Queen, that would be ideal, because they are helping out some other troops, and you have got 1 healer that's actually... and 2 healers that have now gone onto the Queen, so that's going to help him out even more. The Valkyries... I mean, if the healers weren't on the Queen, I'd want them to be on the Valkyries, I guess. But just... you know, this base is done. Just a couple more Wizards drop down and Loon, and there we go. There's the 3-star. So... just goes to show, yes, there's a lot of 3-stars, but the bases were easy. Even I'm hitting fresh hit 3-stars. It's just straightforward if you get the basic concept of the funneling, and you've got max Valks, because max Valks just plain and simply wreck bases. So if you some people are messing around with bowler walks and still trying to Larloon and stuff, but if you want to go the safe option, it's always just dropping Valks, particularly on anti-2-star bases. Anti-3-star bases are a different story. We're going to experience some of that in the next few videos. Hope you've enjoyed this one. Playin Wit COC is an awesome clan that's given me a lot of experience, content, and all the like. So loving it here. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.